At some point, you're going to have the courage. At some point, you're going to have the confidence. And it's total bullshit, frankly. So there are so many people in the world, and you know, you may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation. And that's not true. Because the way that our minds are wired, and the fact about human beings is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things because our brains are trying to keep us alive. And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary, which sets up this problem for all of us. You're never going to feel like it. You only feel motivated to do the things that are easy. The way that our minds are designed is our minds are designed to stop you at all costs from doing anything that might hurt you. And the way that this all happens is it all starts with something super subtle that none of us ever catch. And that is with this habit that all of us have that nobody's talking about. We all have a habit of hesitating. We have an idea, you're sitting in a meeting, you have this incredible idea, and instead of just, saying it, you stop and you hesitate. Now, what none of us realize is that when you hesitate, just that moment, that micro moment, that small hesitation, it sends a stress signal to your brain. So then your brain goes to work to protect you. It has a million different ways to protect you. One of them is called the spotlight effect. It's a known phenomenon where your brain magnifies risk. Why? To pull you away from something that it perceives to be a problem. And so you can truly trace every single problem or complaint in your life to silence and hesitation. Those are decisions. Your life comes down to your decisions. And if you change your decisions, you will change everything. None of us wake up and say, today is the day I destroy my life. What we do is we kind of check out because it feels overwhelming, or we check out because we're afraid, or we check out because we start listening to self-doubt, and then we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. A decision to not get up on time, a decision to not eat the right thing, a decision to snap at your kids, a decision to not speak in a meeting, a decision to not look for a job, a decision to not deal with your finances, a decision to not call your parent, like whatever it is. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here? And more importantly, how do I get back over there? And you have no idea. You know what to do, but you can't seem to make yourself do it, right? I mean, every one of us is one Google search away from a list of instructions. But how do you get out of your head and stop thinking about what you need to do and actually do it? When you set goals, when you have an intention on something that you want to change about your life, your brain helps you. What it does is it opens up a checklist, and then your brain goes to work trying to remind you of that intention that you set. And it's really important to develop the skill. And I say that word purposefully, the skill of knowing how to hear that inner wisdom and that intention kicking in and leaning into it quickly. And I think most people that are miserable or that are really like dying to be great and dying to have more, we want to change. We want to live a better life. We want to create more for our families. We want to be happier. The desire is there. Again, it's about how do you go from knowledge to actions. Every human being has a 5-second window, might even be shorter for you. You have about a 5-second window in which you can move from idea to action before your brain kicks into full gear and sabotages any change in behavior. Because remember, your brain is wired to stop you from doing things that are uncomfortable or uncertain or scary. It's your job to learn how to move from those ideas that could change everything into acting on them in the smallest moment. Because when you understand the power of a 5-second decision, and you understand that you always have a choice to go from autopilot to decision maker, everything in your life will change. You will be a different negotiator, You will be different in sales. You will be unstoppable in the gym, because you will realize the amount of garbage that you put in the way of your hopes, of your dreams, of your potential, of your confidence, of your courage. Everything comes down to the decisions that you make. We all know what to do. None of us know how to make ourselves do it. What's incredible is in 5 seconds flat, self-doubt can take over and rob you of your power, and rob you of joy, and rob you of your potential. Or, in 5 seconds flat, you can actually use one stupid little trick to push yourself to grab it. And so when you start to separate confidence not as a matter of personality, but as a skill that you can acquire, because confidence is the ability to move, in my opinion, from thought to action. Because when you're a confident person, you believe enough in yourself and your capabilities that you're willing to try, that you're willing to share. To me, confidence isn't the assuredness that it turns out, it's the willingness to try. So here's how you use the 5-second rule. You use it to stabilize your thoughts before the panic escalates. And then what happens is it drifts into worry and then it disappears. So the second you feel worry, you catch it, you train yourself to do that. If you start feeling yourself getting, your heart racing, you can 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and use the I'm excited. If that doesn't work, literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just give yourself an anchor thought, literally, of you being okay. So the second that you feel yourself getting nervous, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then your anchor thought is a vision of what you're going to do when you get to where you're going. Well, I think we're all flawed, and that's the beauty of who you are. And instead of trying to make yourself perfect in every area, it's so much easier when you accept the things that you're terrible at, or that are your weaknesses, or that are the things about your wiring. So figure out how to, instead of fighting those things, actually trick it. Because the truth is that you're never going to feel ready to make these changes. You're never going to feel like doing them, but you can always make a decision. That's always in your control. Staying with somebody that treats you like garbage is a decision. It is. Staying at a job that you hate is a decision. Staying in the body that you are not proud of is a decision. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy to change. It's simple. Do a Google search and then use the 5-second rule to force yourself to do that stuff. Change comes down to 5-second decisions, and this is why the 5-second rule is important for everybody to know. It's your job to push yourself. And I don't care if you're Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., or you're Michelangelo, or you're Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton, you will struggle with self-doubt. And everybody that you admire, you should not have your phone in your bedroom. And here's why, because what's on your phone is not your dreams. What's on your phone is stuff that's been designed by people that study game theory. So I want you to think of a moment in time when you were really happy. Like, it could be a memory from being little, it could be something that you dream of doing. And I want you to come up with something really specific about that moment, okay? Like, think about what you were wearing, or think about the blue sky. That is going to be what I call your anchor thought. Every time from this moment forward that you wake up or you find yourself drifting to those normal feelings of, I'm a loser, I'm worthless, I'm never going to find love. They may be things that you're used to thinking, but that doesn't matter, because you can change them. The second that you feel that, you've drifted over into that thought, and I keep coming over here because when you start using the rule, you're going to start to literally feel which part of your mind you're using. The worries kind of happen here. I want you to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I want you to insert this vision of yourself where you felt really good. And if you can't think of one, invent one. How would you feel if you were in love? How would you feel if you loved yourself? How would you feel if you did that thing that you're scared of, that you keep talking yourself out of? That's your anchor thought. Now, when you first start using the rule, particularly when you're breaking a habit of thinking negative thoughts, when you first start doing it, you may need to use the 5-second rule 73 times in one day. That is the battle of your mind. And the other thing about normal that I just want to say is that the reason why it feels normal to doubt yourself and to have low self-worth is because you've thought this so long. It's become a pattern, just like chewing your nails becomes a pattern of behavior that you don't think about. Well, the cool thing is you can actually change any pattern, even a thinking one.
Because there are some things in your life that will make you run. There are certain things that will happen in your life that make you pick up the pace, that slap you out of your stupor and say, this ain't no time to cry. You feel like I can't even have good grief. Everybody gotta pick up the pace. That's why I can't deal with people who cannot pick up the pace. Don't be strolling when I got a 911 on you. I need people who can pick up the pace. Do not allow the cares of this world to destroy your passion for living. You have to run after it. Success is always intentional. I would rather aim for the stars and not hit them than to not aim at all. I would rather go after it and not get it than not go after it at all. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. I don't want to live with the idea, wonder what would have happened had I done more with my life. I'm going to go for it, come hell or high water. I'm going after my destiny. You got to run after your destiny. You can't stroll after your destiny. You can't walk after your destiny. You got to run. Somebody holler, run! Run after your destiny. Touch your neighbor and say, run after your destiny. Do not stroll, do not walk, do not meander, do not wander, but roll after your destiny. You gotta run. You gotta run. You gotta run. You can't just wake up in the morning and let me see what's gonna happen today. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna wear. I don't know what I'm gonna cook. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I just woke up. Oh, you should stay in the bed. Give the day to somebody who's gonna run after their destiny. Give the day to somebody who has a plan, who has a strategy, because success is never an accident. And if you don't want it, get out of my way. Because there are some people who want to do something with their life, who will run. You got to run after your destiny. You got to run after it. You got to run after your destiny. 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 You got to run after it. You got to run. When they gave the young man the scholarship, tears welled up in my eyes. I said, oh God, good. He got a better chance to run after your destiny. It's running time. It's running time. It's not strolling time. It's not walking time. It's not sightseeing time. It's running time. Get ready to run. Give me some space because I'm getting ready to run. Get up out of my face because I'm getting ready to run. Don't have time for what you're talking about because I'm getting ready to run. I'm gonna run. Gotta run. I'm running for my life. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run, gotta run, gotta run, gotta run. I'm getting ready to run like I never run before. I'm getting ready to leap like I never leaped before. I'm getting ready to shout like I never shout before. I'm getting ready to dance like I never danced before. I'm getting ready to run. Anybody gonna run with me? Anybody gonna run with me? Anybody gonna run, 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 run? Nobody gets a degree by mistake. Nobody wins the Olympics by mistake. Nobody runs a race by accident. Success is always intentional. You have to run after your destiny. There are certain things that will happen in your life that make you pick up the pace. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure. And I want to say to you that if you run after your destiny, you won't have to fight with your history. You won't have time for your history if you run after your destiny. I want to wake you up out of struggling with old ghosts. Casper the friendly ghost is dead. I want you to shake yourself and understand it's time to run after your destiny. Everybody in the text is running after their destiny. If they are running, why are you still standing there? It's the one thing I can tell you to count on is don't count on anything. that life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's going to go, and that when I walk down here, this is what is going to happen, by the time you get there, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you got to get used to being a little disappointed. You got to get used to being a little bit shocked. You got to get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive. If you hear me good, especially young people, if you run after your destiny, you will automatically distance yourself from your history. You understand? If you just run after what's in front of you, you will escape what's behind you. Don't spend all your time trying to fix what's behind you, because you'll never be able to fix what's behind you. You have to run after what's in front of you. I don't dress like you. I don't walk like you. I don't act like you. I'm a runner. I'm not built like you. I don't think like you. I'm a runner. Shout hallelujah. I didn't always have my head on straight. I didn't always have my head on straight. And in places I suffered from the lack of focus. You understand what I'm saying? I could have been further if I'd have run faster. I had the ability to run further. Had I been focused, I could have gone further, but I wasn't always focused. But there are many, many, many people that I did outrun. There are many, many people that I did outrun because I came to myself quick enough. If you start running in your teens while your mind is sharp, and your body is strong and your strength is focused, if you run in your youth, you'd be surprised what will happen by the time you're 30, by the time you're 40, by the time you're 50. You gotta run. Somebody holler, run! Anybody can love you when you just bought a yacht. But when everybody turns against you and all hell breaks loose, and it looks like you're not a winner, and it looks like the love doesn't pay, most people make a withdrawal when they don't see a benefit. And all of a sudden, life demands that you pick up the pace. Life demands that you pick up the pace. If you don't pick up the pace, you're going to be left behind. I'm amazed at the people that lack the flexibility to pick up the pace. They just get in a rut. I stroll down here and I'm going to stroll back. I'm going to stroll over here. I'm going to stroll over there. Somebody's late, but you made up your mind. I'm going to start running. I didn't get it till I got to this age, but I'm going to start running. I messed up junior high, but now I'm going to start running. I messed up high school, but now I'm going to start running. The moment you get the word, you ought to run. The Bible said, the day you hear my voice, harden not your heart. When God gives you a chance at an escape, don't be cute. Run after your death. My God, run! Run! Do y'all hear me? Run! Run after your death. Run after it. Run after it. Run! Don't be ashamed. Run! Hear me if you don't get anything else. Outrun us. Outrun us. Outrun us. outrun us. Don't let us be the benchmark of how high you can go, because you were built to outrun us. You're supposed to outrun us. Don't be looking at me funny. We outran our parents. Look at who your mama was and who your daddy was and who your grandmama was and who your granddaddy was. Look at how they was living and look at what God has done for you. You are supposed to outrun where you came from. I brought you this far. You ought to at least go further than where I brought you. Outrun us. Touch somebody, say, outrun us! Every parent worth his salt wants your child to outrun you. I don't understand how you could be jealous of your child, competing with your child. There must be something wrong with you where you are still a child yourself, because grown folks ought not to compete with their children. You ought to support your children. You ought to encourage your children. You ought to help your children, but they're supposed to outrun us.
Overcome your fear of success, you become successful. And then, how do you overcome your fear of becoming even more successful? You become even more successful. You understand? You just keep doing it. What do you keep doing? What you're called to do. We're discovering what in fact is true, what isn't true, what inhibits me from seeing what's true, etc., etc., etc. I mean, it's called being alive. What's life? Energy. What's creativity? An expression of energy. What's an opportunity? It's an opportunity to express your energy in a more perfect way.
I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant, that no one is checking for me, and that I don't mean anything to the world, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe it about myself. The day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion is the beginning of the end. Most of you guys don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child and you're shaking. And it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure, feeling self-conscious, and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you. Love yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself. Believe in yourself, independent of the validation of the world.
What are you trying to do with your life? When you stand for something important, it not only motivates you to get up in the morning and go and work on it and beat on your craft, but it also helps guide your decision making. If you don't know what your purpose is, then you're wandering all over the place. But you have these things that guide you towards your purpose. Things where you do get into the flow, things that you do enjoy, where you like spending your time. And that's what you need to focus more on, and not the things that are pushing you away.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
To live a great life, you must be prepared to fail, sure, and to die maybe.
No one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna write your dream thing for you. You've gotta make it.
When you've got momentum, you're getting things done quickly. Things that might have taken you weeks to do are flying off your checklist. You feel the energy that it brings you. You feel like your business idea will work even though everyone's telling you it won't. If you stop now, you'll kill your momentum. You get a great idea, something that really excites you, and you tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow or next week, and then you never do it. If you're excited by something, take action right away, immediately.
Stop thinking and start doing. Believe.
It's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You got to keep moving and keep plugging away.
The good thing about how I made a career was I was patient. So I would say to anybody still today, if you're going to be good at something, it does take a while. Just enjoy the getting there. You're going to get fed up, you're going to get disheartened, and people are going to tell you you're useless. Had all that. But what I can say, after about 15 or 20 years, I learned how to do something well, and I enjoyed that getting there as much as being there.
My advice is just do things that are true to you. So I would just say get involved in things that you love, and also have a standard for yourself and have some sort of integrity, and try to, find some sort of truth in what you're doing.
You can be yourself and an individual if you are comfortable with not everybody liking you or how you think. That's the price. The price of being yourself is, other people's angst about you being yourself.
I'm not going to sit inside of a corporation for 20 years. The time is now. The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Most excellent people give up because they're exhausted with no one being able to make a decision. He said, what if you're wrong? He said, if I'm wrong, we'll find out quicker. If I'm right, the job will be done. How do you create your life? You get hungry for something, don't you? If there's something you once envisioned and now it's real, it's because you didn't just envision it, you brought so much emotion to it that now it's in your life. It was once a dream, it was once a goal, and now it's in your life. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. And then I decided, what does this mean? And I thought, this means that whenever you give, it's always going to come back, so you don't have to ever think about that again. Just give, and the rewards will be greater than you can ever imagine. I don't know if that's coincidence, but I decided to believe that day was the blessing when I became rich. And I can tell you honestly, I've had tough days in my life, economically, emotionally, like all of us. But I've never gone back to that scarcity. I never will. The secret to living is giving. Do it when you don't have it, and I promise you, scarcity will leave your life. We're supposed to be in this. In other words, if you're not going to get rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you. It's that simple. So you got to say, okay, what's the price if I just stay doing this? What's the price? Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. But if we don't physically make a decision how we're going to live, then we'll show up like everybody else, because the human mind is not going to make you happy. This brain of yours won't do it. You have to direct it. If you find your passion, you're going to have this tremendous energy. It's sustainable energy. But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. It's decide, commit, and resolve. Step. Decision is like a war. I got to do this or that. All right, I'm going to make myself do this. But commitment is when you now, after you've decided, you commit to do this for the long term. Whether it's hard or easy, doesn't matter. You're doing this. It takes it from this moment and it carries it into the future even when things are difficult. And the third state is resolve. Resolve means it's done. Massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all.
The first and most important right thing is to open the doors to the possibility that there is something in your life you have never seen before, and someone inside of you you have no relationship with. It's opening the doors to your imagination. You're only, but I can't, but I don't, but I didn't, but I never, etc., etc. All of those things that keep on coming up as simply excuses why I'm unwilling to open the doors to my imagination for fear of what might walk in. Your job is to practice. So you'll sound stupid at the beginning, and you continue to practice. Simply do what I'm suggesting that you do.
I had to dream big. There was no room for failure.
I did what I had to do in order to make the dream work. I made the commitment, knowing that it always wasn't going to be a smooth ride. But I felt like my only two choices was to either make it or not. And the not wasn't an option. You always have to have a boundary. You always have to have a boundary of what you will or will not do. Now, your boundary is different from my boundary. At the same time, you have to live with yourself at the end of the day.
Anything is possible.
Most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. You gotta act.
You should not wait for someone else's opinion to decide who you are. It's nice if somebody is supportive of you and embracive of you, but you should be comfortable with who you are. It should not be healed because somebody else likes you. It should be healed because you believe something good about yourself. So what the other person thinks of you should not matter as much. Focus on yourself, on improving yourself, on being a good person yourself. Focus on you liking yourself. Do you like who you are? Be the best that you can be and do not try to be like anyone else.
A life without challenges is very, very boring. So if you have challenges, you just have to know how to work out or how to work around these challenges, and you will be successful once you are consistent.
You gotta believe in what you're doing. You gotta love it. You gotta know you can have an impact, and you gotta be consistent.
Did you doubt yourself? And you got to be willing to stand on your beliefs, because a lot of times you're the only one who can see it. You did, and other people, they don't see it really, but you got to really believe in what you got inside of you that's telling you and driving you to a certain goal for something.
The very minute that you decide upon something, you know that's what you want, you know you're going to do it, all of these negatives that have been bothering you, they pick up their baggage and get out.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now.
If you're going to be good at something, it does take a while. Just enjoy the getting there. You're going to get fed up, you're going to get disheartened, and people are going to tell you you're useless. Had all that. But what I can say, after about 15 or 20 years, I learned how to do something well, and I enjoyed that getting there as much as being there.
My advice is just do things that are true to you. You know, what you're trying to express, create it. So these are all things that are, you know, are comfortable for me. You know, these are things that I like. So I would just say get involved in things that you love, and also have a standard for yourself and have some sort of integrity, and try to, you know, find some sort of truth in what you're doing.
The road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard. And it is going to get hard, and you're going to want to quit sometimes, but it'll be colored by who you are and more who you want to be.
You may have any kind of a challenging background or a different background, but if you have that commitment, that vision, that dream, that fire in the belly, you can make it big.
And I don't really pay attention to what people may be requesting, because I believe that if we have enough conviction in what we're doing, then people will believe it as well.
People do music or anything they do now, they do it like someone who has done it before, or they do it like what they think the people want. I don't do that. I do what I know is nice to me. I do what I think is cool. And if you don't think it's cool, then I think you're not cool.
Whatever you gonna do, just do it for a reason, you know what I'm saying? Don't be the fool to just sit back and do it because somebody else is doing it. Because the only thing you're gonna do is follow in somebody else's footsteps, and you're just gonna be a shadow. Who will be a shadow for the rest of their life, you know what I'm saying? If you got a little something that you know how to do, progress at it, keep trying. I mean, God knows what can happen, you know what I'm saying?
Is you know when you're doing something right. And you know when something feels right. When you get that feeling, you have to keep following it. If I didn't keep doing this, I would live with regret. Like I wish I had given a little bit more. And so maybe that's the way, to answer the question, maybe that's the way you listen to your heart is, you know, if you don't do this, if you don't go down that path, will you regret this?
But I'm also here to tell you that I feel strongly that long-term value for your shareholders cannot be achieved in an enduring, sustainable way unless the management of the company is completely and comprehensively committed to creating long-term value for the employees. And the two are directly linked together. And any company, any management team that turns its back on its people and doesn't share the success of the company with the people who do the work are not going to finish the race.
A story you're telling yourself. And as long as you believe that story, then it's going to become your reality. Be like Ray Kroc and bet on yourself. And know that you're never too old to start. Believe.
If you're going to be successful in creating the life of your dreams, you have to believe that you are capable of making it happen. You have to believe that you have the right stuff and that you're able to pull it off. Now, whether you call it self-esteem, self-confidence, or self-assurance, it's a deep-seated belief that you have what it takes, the abilities, the inner resources, the talents, and the skills to create your desired results. Now, believing in yourself is simply an attitude. Believing in yourself is a choice. You have to choose to believe that you can do anything you set your mind to, anything at all, because in fact you can. And almost every one of them has told me I was not the most gifted or the most talented person in my field, but I chose to believe that anything was possible. And because of that, I studied, I practiced, and I worked harder than the others, and that's how I got to where I am. If Bill Gates, who was a college dropout, could become a multi-billionaire, but accepting this level of responsibility is uniquely and inevitably empowering. It means you can do, change, and become anything at all.
Most of y'all, and it's f***ed up, I see it every day, all day. Most of you guys don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child and you're shaking. And it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure, feeling self-conscious, and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant, that no one is checking for me, and that I don't mean anything to the world, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe it about myself. See, the day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion is the beginning of the end.
When you don't think the product or the service that the company puts out is quality and you're no longer proud of it, that's God speaking to you. He's yelling at you. He's saying, I have something else for you. Leave. Go do something else. Leave. When your spirit leaves, for God's sakes, take your body with it.
I love me. The day that you allow the opinions of everybody on the outside world to define your day-to-day, month-to-month, and year-to-year, it's the beginning of the end. Love yourself. Believe in yourself. Never rely or depend on anybody to fulfill your heart. And if you don't believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you better get to know him, because that's also a part of the process of self-love.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true.
Passion is not a job, a sport, or a hobby. It is the full force of your attention and energy that you give to whatever's right in front of you. And if you're so busy looking for this passion, you could miss opportunities that change your life. Hey, it's okay not to know. You know why? Because the most fulfilling relationships, the most fulfilling careers are those that still have the power to surprise you.
You want to be somebody who succeeds. You want to be somebody who builds something. You want to be, all right? And that's the mentality you guys have to have. You have to be okay with looking like an idiot for a long time. You're going to have to understand that losing is a part of ultimately winning. You're going to lose a lot more than you win. And when you win, you're going to figure out how to get better on top of it. If you're a true winner, you know, they don't celebrate their wins. True winners take the win and they say, how could I have even gotten better? How could I have ran the score up? How could I have won by twice as many points? So you never really feel like you win. I've learned to look at every single loss as an opportunity of how to win more, and that's what you need to do too.
Don't allow anyone to tell you that what you are dreaming for yourself and your family is not possible. It is possible.
Somewhere deep inside, you know what kind of person you were designed to be. If you want to produce great acorns, think like an oak, not like an acorn. Think like the person you intend to become.
Every seed has a tree in it, and the potential success of that tree is in that seed. And that's the way you are. Whatever you were born to do and be is in you now, and the success of your life depends on you becoming all that is trapped inside of you.
What kind of seed is in you? I believe part of our responsibility in life is to find out who we are.
You were not born just to make a living and keep a job and pay bills and then die. You were not born just to retire and get some pension and then fade away and we put you in a plot somewhere.
You and I were born with the gift to make this a better place.
Our circumstances and situations did not lend itself to us being successful. Many of us were not raised in an ideal circumstance that prepared us for where we really wanted to go. And even though we love the idea of being progressive or prospering or intelligent or spiritual, the reality is we were not aligned in the direction that we needed to be aligned to go to where we're trying to go.
Ask yourself, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do?
Success for the next year is going to be you making another step toward fulfilling your purpose in life while you were born, making another step.
Work to your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas, they operate off potential. They're driven to reach their potential. This is also tied to their ethical obligation. They know what they're capable of. Nobody can tell you what you're capable of. You're the only one that knows. Work to your potential, not just a quota, and I promise you, you will be on fire day and night.
I never expected to be anything but ordinary. I was raised to be nice and ordinary. I expected I would grow up to be like Dad worked for the phone company. I figured I'd go to work for the phone company, maybe work in an office. I figured I'd work till 65. I'd have 1.34 kids. I'd retire at 65, and then I'd die at the statistical average age for my gene pool. That's what I expected. Until one day in 1972, on the radio in the next room to mine, I heard a voice that changed everything. I heard the voice of Earl Nightingale, known at the time as the Dean of Personal Motivation. He said, if you will spend 1 extra hour each day studying your chosen field, you'll be a national expert in that field in 5 years or less. That hit me like a tornado. It rearranged everything in my life. If you were to focus half an hour of study on one field of endeavor for 5 consecutive years, you'd not only transform you, you'd transform the world around you. And we collectively would transform the world as we know it today. Know how you're smart, not just how smart you are in comparison to others. In what ways are you smart? Know what you care about. What are the values that motivate your choices? Know what your personal velocity is, the intensity and drive with which you naturally operate. Know the background imprint, positive, neutral, or negative, that you carry with you and what effect it's had on you. Know your behavioral style, how you come across to other people. Know the patterns in your choices so that you're continually learning more and more about what it's like to be you so you can do an even better job of it.
What are you going to do with the time you have left? I say that if you don't reposition yourself, you could miss the best time in your life. You are not reserving yourself for your highest and best use. We are not using our life, our time, our energy for our highest and best use. You're missing your life, your purpose, your passion, your excitement, your enthusiasm.
Ask yourself every day, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do?